Welcome, fellow Chimera Sharks. I'm Chimera, and we're doing a brand new story called Ho Ho Houch. It is Christmas themed, but it's also scary, so be warned. Disclaimer for children. Don't do it. Okay, guys, let's begin.
Good old Saint Nick lied on his throne of assorted items jeweled in his favor. He laughed greedily as he watched his rows of elves slave away, decaying and withering on treacherous machines that sparkled with a twisted sheen. A sheen screaming with the cursed glow bright red droplets of crushed and distorted elves. The elves' foreheads glistened with the sweat of forced labor that Santa had distilled on them each year, completely aware of their pain and suffering, but void to it as well. Santa had never actually delivered his presents as he should have each year, but instead stacked them up in his image outside his glorified torture building. In this world, Santa was a god, and that's exactly the way he liked it. He thrived off of unjustified power. He adored the praise of the citizens of the world that came with the holiday, but wanted none of the work that came along with it. He was corrupt, but one of the most honored figures of the public, and for him, that was perfect. He didn't need to make real change so long as he could have a perfect life shrouded with the misery of others, built in a reality only real to him. The night was almost upon him, the night when he would make his way through heavy snow that crunched underneath the pressure of his boots, much like everything else he felt was in his way. The night when he would board a blood-red titanium sleigh and act out the sick pleasure he felt from labeling his names on gifts from children's parents. Presents wrapped carefully with love from people who cared about the receiver. Shouting, Santa ordered his favorite misfortuned elf to grab him his evening latte. 3 caramel, 2 shots of peppermint, and an extra shot of espresso. The elf scurried off, green-pointed hat waving behind him. A scowl filled with anger and sadness spreading across the small frame of his face as he looked back. "Oh!" Santa shouted, throwing a block from his pocket at the elf. "And don't forget the whiskey, my favorite part of the night. Goes great with cookies." "Yes, sir," the elf responded despairingly. Boozy coffee in hand and a depressed elf waving wands filled with a green and red glow in front of the sleigh, Santa took off. A warm feeling spread down the surface of him as he soared through the air. Reindeer were hooked up to the front, thorns stabbed at their sides, forcing them forward, wailing in agony, as their soft, light brown fur stained red through the night. "Oh, quit that whining," Santa said in a drunken daze. Santa leaned backwards, beard blowing to the right, scratching the side of his face with its wired texture. He never bothered shaving. His arms extended slowly, reaching into a bag full of red and white candy canes, his favorite pastime of the night, unfolding. He spent an hour sucking the candy to a point and chucking it at the reindeer, grinning every time one of them would be clipped by a sugary dagger. "What's wrong, you mutts? I thought candy canes were your favorite treats." He spoke into the wind. He went by house to house to house, breaking in, disabling alarm systems, and labeling each Christmas celebrating person's family presents with his clearly practiced signature. He stripped away Mom, Dad, Amy, Jake, Aunt Carly, everything not related to him and him alone. A carnage of labels and a bringing of irreparable damage. He flew above the town of Thistledore, gazing at its overly festive attire. The town was dressed in dazzling lights, a raging hotspot of cheer for an overly deranged man dressed in red and white. He flew down to the first house. It was large and undressed, unlike the other houses, but it was still listed as a place he was supposed to travel to. He prepared his pen, stuck a candy cane in his mouth, and parked his devastated reindeer on the roof before he began shuffling through his bag in search of his tools to pick-lock the door. He reached the inside. It was destitute, dark, and unsavory. A large staircase opened on each side of the room, leading up to the second story of the building. The railing was lined with a crystalline gold that traveled the gaze upwards towards a large pine tree with presents beneath it. He prepared his pen, ready to scratch his name on the lining of wrapping paper, when he stumbled, flailing backwards and hitting the railing. It sounded a reverberating bang throughout the empty house. The candy cane that Santa had been sucking flew out of his mouth, landing on the Christmas tree, its pointed edge sticking out. A slammed door echoed in the distance. Santa had whirled his head around, searching for where the sound had come from. His greedy heart was racing. He heard another sound, and then another, spinning each time. He saw a shadow whisk towards the Christmas tree, and what he had noticed made his head pound tightly. The sharpened candy cane was gone from its resting place. The vision he saw was a flash of red and white stripes. Before all it was red, and red alone. He looked down. His chest was running ruby. The candy cane stuck. The fluff line of his jolly jacket was soaked crimson. Its drip soon turned even the floor scarlet. He heard the sound of hoofsteps on the roof moving closer to him. When he looked up, it was a man who had stabbed him. He had had a child hugged against his leg. Both were terrified. For the first time, Santa's treasury had been given back to him in full, and now all he was facing was the gaping jaw of a reindeer with a red nose staring at him before he plunged into Santa's chest, devouring the candy cane sticking out and flesh along with it. His eyes stared blankly at the ceiling, but before anyone or any creature could say anything, Santa evaporated into a sparkling red dust, soaking the blood pool in a beautiful glimmer, much too glorious for a holiday monster.
Thank you all so much for listening to Ho Ho Houch. I hope that you all have a very Merry Christmas, and remember, click all those buttons for me.